the help of the youth, with the help of our guests. We made noise about it online immediately after Secretary Avalos himself came over to help. And from there, they were able to confiscate 15 guns, and they were able to remove people from the site. Now, that is collaborative action, right? That actually leads to genuine transformational change on the ground. And of course, we've engaged more than 100 locals as rangers in the area. So again, this is not something we would have done on our own. This is something that we were able to do with the help of our collaborators in government, in civil society, among our corporate and school partners, all of which numbering over 300. Meron pa rin mga challenges, hindi naman may iiwasan yan. We have, again, professional spotting activities and their modus operandis. They normally would masquerade as farmers when they're actually resort owners. These quarries are still a challenge. Why? Because they said that they still have a right over the land. The challenge for us now is they have not been, even if they say even if DNR has been telling us that they have rights over the land, the transparency around what enables them to do that hasn't been there. Of course, there's also violence. In 2021, 2 of our forest rangers were shot. The Philippines is actually the deadliest country in Asia for environment defenders. And we're always top 3, top 4 globally for more than a decade now. Some of you might have heard about it. There's an attempt to build the new Bilibid prison on the main spine of our rock formation, which a lot of people has expressed an outcry over. I will not blame the DOJ or the Bucor for it. If anything, nakakausap naman namin sila. But we need to be vigilant over how this moves forward. We also need to make sure that we are able to hold accountable the DNR officer who allowed this to happen despite orders from more than a decade ago that it should be moved elsewhere. Ito bago, a windmill facility that's prospecting on our rock spine. We haven't launched or informed people about it yet, but why I included this here is because just because it is an action for climate doesn't mean that it actually leads to harmonious man-nature balance at the end of the day. So we need to be very mabusisi if it's causing health or if it's causing destruction. And all of these are compounded really by the climate of disinformation that we are in, by co-opted individual interests in government, sometimes, let's be honest about it, that need to be overcome, not just by the institutions, but by both people in government and everyone working towards climate action. The biggest threat for us now, if I may be completely transparent, is that there are attempts to go as far as canceling our forestation project despite everything that it has achieved and done. And malalaman niyo din to as you go into your climate journey, but it's not just outright cancellation that we should be worried about, but deflections and distractions and such. So if there's anything that I'd like to ask for help on, it's of course the hashtag #SaveMisumi to support the conservation project, to call for action against actual environmentally destructive activities that have not been moving in recent time. And to support environmental defenders at the forefront of the work. And because I still have, I believe, a bit of time left, I'd also like to give a few additional words or learnings to the environmentalists in the room today. So for young people, I know you've heard this a lot of times, but if I may leave you with a few additional notes, it's for number 1, to always look for and call for genuine, game-changing, and transformational action. Not later, but today. Demand that to lead for change and to take risks for the planet over profit actually happens. As youth, we have to remember that we are in the best position to call for change and to hold people accountable, not just to what they say they will do, but what they actually do at the end of the day. To perform these checks and balances and to speak truth to power on behalf of the most vulnerable of our population. So for example, in Missouri, we've seen poverty to be used as a smokescreen or as a distraction for climate action. Land grabbers pretending to be priests just to make conservation unpopular. Show cause orders that never actually materialize into enforcement. Now, so many of these groups that we need to change and systems that we need to change can work against the law and know how to work with the law and use it to their advantage to continue the status quo. We need to be smarter when it comes to dealing with them. So when you see a problem, please look deep for a solution, go on the ground, do not look away, have the courage and speak the truth. 2 would be to pursue a solution yourself if you want to take it a step further. And in doing this, I found a lot of value in following science and following the scientific method. If you talk about resilience, I think our resilience as an organization comes from this. If you encounter setbacks, change a variable, change your hypothesis, test it out again, right? There's simply a process to it. And I hope that the design thinking activity you will have later on can make you more equipped when it comes to that. And last is to take care of yourself and to take care of each other. Climate is a long-term advocacy, just the same way that reforestation isn't achieved in a year or 3 years' time. So you need to take care of yourself, make sure you have a sense of humor as you do the work, and make sure that you take care of each other because it really takes a village to make a difference. We're lucky because in the Philippines, this space has been so helpful. It's so, and this is compared to other countries, so collaborative. It's been a safe space for me as much as it has been my advocacy space. So make use of each other's strengths and collaborate so that you're able to achieve more. So I'd like to end with that. Thank you for listening. Please let me know if you have any questions, if you have specific ideas that you'd like to propose to us. And I truly look forward to working with everyone in pursuing and achieving, not just the world that we want, but the world that we deserve.
Thank you very, very much. Again, it's really important that she shared the realities of what environmental action entails. And this is not just something in the Philippines, this is something we share with many other countries around the world. People on the ground, local communities, risking their lives every single day for our collective future. And sometimes it can be daunting and intimidating to think, how can we possibly support that? And I used to think about that all the time, every single day. And I was reminded by heroes and mentors that what we share, the stories that we share are important. And the way we can support them is by sharing their stories. And of course, she also mentioned signing these petitions. Sometimes we think when people announce online, please sign this petition to help make this goal happen. Those are so powerful. So those are other steps that you can take, not just sharing the stories, sharing those actual petitions and links that will create game-changing actions and will truly make a difference. And syempre, ibabalik ko na rin yan ulit sa kailangan natin bumoto for true systemic change in moving forward. And speaking of storytelling, oh my gosh, up next is another brilliant superwoman who I've also had the wonderful pleasure of working together in mission with. And she's here to really tell us more in depth about how stories and storytelling of how we care for the environment can help the effect of change come together for more of us and, of course, to bring change not in the future, but today. She is also an ASEAN Biodiversity Youth Hero and Storyteller. Please welcome Conservation Storyteller Miss Celine Murillo.
That's people. Very good morning to everyone. I'm from Sorsogon. And I'm here to discuss or to talk about the ecosystem of change and your role in it. But before we go to the meat of the talk, I would like to introduce myself a little better. So, I'm Celine. As a conservation storyteller, I combine poetry, film, and photography to tell stories of wildlife, wild places, and the intertwining of nature and culture. Currently, I am with Climate Tracker Asia. Some of our fellows are here. We hold trainings and workshops for climate reporters and storytellers. I'm also working on a couple of grants from the Photographers Without Borders and the Forest Foundation of the Philippines. With my husband, Dennis, we travel in a camper van across the Philippines to document wildlife and landscape, with the ultimate goal of promoting mainstreaming and calling for the protection of Philippine biodiversity and natural heritage. And I'm also on TikTok, where I get red tagged for talking about trees and being always in the forest. Yeah, so that's me. And now, to answer the question, what is the ecosystem of change? So the ecosystem of change is created by Diva Iyer, who is a Southeast Asian American writer and strategist. So here, you'll see 10 roles that are essential in achieving equity, liberation, justice, and solidarity. So some of you may have already found your role in the movement, and some of you may have already thought about it or looking to explore their roles. The names of the roles are quite straightforward. Personally, I am leaning into my role as a storyteller. And the way that I arrived, what are you good at, and what work needs doing. So answering those questions can help you arrive in what climate action you can do in order to contribute to the ecosystem of change. Now, what these two things tell us, first, is that climate action is interconnected and intersectional by nature. So what that means is hindi lang siya environmental issue. It's also an issue of politics and economics. It's a social justice issue. It's a human rights issue. And that knowledge should embolden you, but also ground you. That much impact will not be possible alone. And that's what the ecosystem of change is telling us. No, sinasabi nila na you do not owe anyone anything, but that's just late-stage capitalist propaganda. The truth is, we owe everyone a lot. We owe each other a lot. And we should lean into the power of the collective, because each one of us has a role to play. And as you carve out some time and courage to reflect kung ano ba yung role niyo dito sa ecosystem of change, I want you to also answer these questions. How can I better perform my role in the ecosystem of change? And as a biodiversity girly and a storyteller, I'm going to offer you 3 answers to this question, while also introducing you to some of the most iconic Philippine native species that we have. So let's play Kilala Mo Ba To? Philippine Biodiversity Edition. Do you know this Philippine endemic species? Anyone? Shout it out. Yes, this is the tamaraw. The tamaraw is the rarest cattle in the world. There are only about 400 plus individuals out in the wild.